Okay, and finally, it's Brexit. We'll talk about that again, shall we? I mean, does it cheer us up? Sometimes it does. It certainly interests and amuses us in a convoluted way that it's like court intrigue, isn't it? It's being back with the Borgias and in some medieval. Gosh, I mean, who's going to stab who in the back next? What comes? It's so exciting. Anyway, what what do you reckon? I I have actually been talking to a Downing Street insider. I mean, there's quite a thing, isn't it? And what about it, hey? Somebody who actually knows Dominic Cummings. Dominic Cummings has been wearing suits lately, but he usually dresses like, somebody's fallen off the back end of a bus. He dresses rough and ready. He's the sort of renegade in Downing Street. Scarcely manages to pull his clothes together at all. He's a proper old scruff. Is Dominic Cummings, the eminence grise. You know this expression, eminence grise, the man behind the power, the man behind the king. Of course, we have King Boris, and we have Dominic Cummings, who is in control. Anyway, so the point is that it's very interesting talking to a Downing Street insider, because I don't know how much inside dope that they really give me, but I mean, the gossip. I mean, Downing Street was very concerned back when Boris Johnson first became Prime Minister that somehow Bercow, the Speaker of the House of Commons, might manipulate things in such a way as to get a vote that made Amber Rudd the UK Commissioner in Europe. Okay? Never happened, of course. Too late now. Interesting that should bother Downing Street. Does it give us clues as to what their ace card is for pulling Britain out of the European Union, deal or no deal, on Halloween, the 31st of October? Do you really care? Well, I find it interesting that this was the Downing Street panic. I talked to my Downing Street insider. I said, I thought that Boris might use his friend, the Prime Minister of Hungary, to veto the Brexit extension, and so make sure that the Britain left the European Union on time. No, he said. No, you're wrong, William. You're wrong. That's too much exposure for Hungary. Hungary's not going to do that. Oh, I said. But, he said, we're leaving on 31st of October. Well, maybe it's the mantra, isn't it? Is he telling me the truth? We're leaving on 31st of October. I think he is. I wonder the clue is in the UK Commissioner to the European Union. Is that the secret weapon? I am not sure, but the Boris is confident that if he doesn't get a deal, then he's leaving. What else did I hear? Well, one thing is I heard a little bit about the paranoia in Dominic Cummings. Europe, of course, has been the issue of the day, but that's not the full extent of his paranoia. He is particularly eager to see reform of the civil service. He thinks the decision-making process in the British civil service is cumbersome, time-wasting, and a bore, and he wants to utterly reform and shake up the civil service. Interesting, isn't it? Actually, maybe he's right in that. The civil service is cumbersome and clumpy and really doesn't make decisions properly, doesn't get things rolling. It's like a behemoth, an elephant. It doesn't function as well as it should. So perhaps we can back our little eminence grise, our little man in Downing Street, Dominic Cummings, on that one. What else is Dominic Cummings committed to doing that the general public may not be aware of? Well, according to my information, and perhaps this is obvious, but he's pretty committed to the abolition of the UK's Supreme Court. Now, we established a Supreme Court, and it's given Boris Johnson a hard time. Dominic Cummings wants that's gone. That'll go. And we'll go back to the old system, which was to have law lords who decided everything. Well, I mean, it's reasonable, actually. Yeah, Supreme Court, 12 people all voted the same way with one voice. Oh, come on. Wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough, really. The way they treated poor old Boris. But come on, guys. He wasn't that dishonourable when he went to the Queen. He pushed it a little bit. He pushed his luck a little bit. But Parliament's normally in recess for the 3 conferences. No, I mean the Supreme Court has entered the political arena in a big way, so maybe they should be abolished. And that's what Dominic Cummings intends. You heard it here first. Does it matter? Do you care in the Middle East whether the British Supreme Court is abolished and we go back to having the House of Lords in control, the law lords? I absolutely don't care, really. It's local British stuff and it doesn't matter. A can of beans. Another interesting dynamic is the little conversation between Boris Johnson and Angela Merkel. You know what Angela Merkel said to Boris Johnson? She said, look, it would be far easier for Germany to leave the European Union than it is for you, Boris, and Britain, said Angela Merkel, because we don't have the Northern Ireland issue. Your Northern Ireland issue makes it hugely difficult. Well, I mean, she's stating the obvious, isn't she? But interesting that she said it to Boris in that way. And what does my Downing Street insider tell me? What Merkel wants, Merkel gets. Merkel is the determining factor. Of course, yes, it matters that Boris and the Irish Premier are on the same page in wanting a deal now and working for one. But it really is Angela Merkel that determines everything. So I think that's kind of interesting, don't you? Well, obvious though. But she is the force in Europe. And she calls the shots. Happy days for Europe. And actually, I like her. A lot of people don't, but I think she's very principled. She's been very honourable. A lot of people don't like Merkel, but I really do admire her. So, fair enough is what I say. So there you have it, a bit of inside gossip as to this and that with regard to the Brexit saga. Does it alter anything? No. We wait with bated breath to see what the next step will be. But I just thought you'd like a little backstory. We all enjoy a little backstory now and again. And so there you have it. And watch out, poor British Supreme Court. Your days are numbered. Boris is gunning for you. Maybe. Oh, dear. Well, there we are. Something else to make you smile. And God bless Brexit. On it goes. An ending saga. And more for us to talk about perhaps next week. But from Hello London Radio for today, that's it. We're going to... That's all I've got to tell you. All I've got to say to you this day. God bless you, and God be with you all. Bye.